the Saudi Arabian, so-called, invasion of Bahrain. Thousands of Saudi soldiers from the unfreest country on the earth, armed to the teeth by Britain and the United States, have invaded the small island state of Bahrain, wherein, of course, the US Fifth Fleet is already docked and thoroughly ensconced. You could argue, therefore, that Bahrain is currently at least no more. It is not an independent country. It is now in chains. Worse than being in chains, its sons and daughters, and some very young ones too, are being gunned down by Saudi Arabian snipers. I'll be asking you tonight what we intend to do about that. Are we going to stand by and watch the Bahraini people murdered in the streets? Bahrain, a country which until 1971 was governed by Britain, and which for many decades afterwards, including, I would argue, up till today, is heavily dependent on Britain, not least in the banking sphere, where the Bank of England actually is in charge of its financial services industry. And that financial services industry is the basis of the wealth of the killers of Al Khalifa. That's the name of the royal dictatorship who've ruled Bahrain for 231 years. I told you last week, the Prime Minister of Bahrain has been in power since 1961, before the Beatles were formed, and they're 40 years gone. We'll be asking, what can we do about this state of affairs? And as I speak to you, in the Security Council in New York, where I was last night, the UK, US and France are lined up behind a resolution which effectively provides a green light, an international authorization for military attack on another Arab country, namely Libya. All that guff about a no-fly zone, well, the resolution goes far, far, far further than a no-fly zone. It permits US and UK and French planes, that's the three biggest colonial empires of the last 150 years, to bomb at will on the coast and on the people of Libya. Of course, they won't bomb the oil installations because that's what they're principally interested in. At the same time, the Gaddafi army is rolling apparently remorselessly towards Benghazi, where 1 million people who reject the rule of the Libyan dictator are waiting and are living, and let's hope are not going to be dying there. There has to be some possibility of some political solution from the Arab world to this state of affairs. At the very least, Arabs should be crossing the Egyptian and Tunisian borders to come to the aid of the revolutionaries in Libya. None of their governments have any right to do so because, well, even in Tunisia and Egypt, they're not democracies yet. It goes without saying that these are my personal views. They are not the views of Press TV.